Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, brothers in arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at a heartbreaker that I had in the Khabarovsk, the Tier 10 Soviet destroyer. I'm divisioned up with my buddy from APOC 901, and he's playing in the Hindenburg, the Tier 10 German heavy cruiser, and we're playing some domination here on the map north. For my captain skills, I have Preventative Maintenance, Last Stand, Survivability Expert, Basic Firing Training, Superintendent, Demo Expert, and Advanced Firing Training. And for my equipment, I have Main Armaments Mod 1, Speed Boost Modification, Aiming Systems, Steering Gears Modification 1 and 2, and Main Battery Modification 3. So the Khabarovsk here in World of Warships. This is a ship that I have not featured in quite some time, at least me personally. And the game that you're going to see here is one that I really think that if a couple things went differently, we would have been able to win the game. And it's one of those battles where it just feels like it doesn't matter how much you do. It doesn't matter what performance that you have. You're just not going to be able to secure the victory for your team. And unfortunately, the Khabarovsk isn't as big of a carry destroyer as it used to be back in the day. You know, this thing a couple years ago had much better stealth. Since I don't have any concealment on this thing, it has a ridiculous 9.7 kilometer detectability range. For instance, an Edinburgh, a Minotaur, an Otago, a Zhao, all those ships have the same or better detectability than you. Oh, and by the way, they're cruisers, so, you know. Obviously, the joke out there is that the Khabarovsk is a cruiser itself, but at the end of the day, it still has a pseudo-destroyer role to it. You still need to get on the caps. You still need to be able to get yourself into those closer positions where you're going to be able to deal with enemy DDs. And, you know, the skinny on the Khabarovsk is pretty simple. You can see, for one of my consumables, I do have access to the heal. That is something that the Khabarovsk has had access to for quite some time now. So what you want to do is get near the caps to support your friendly DDs or cruisers that are out in front of you, and just go pew, 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 pew until the enemy team rages from all the fires that you've set. You get 8 130mm guns, and these things have excellent range up to 13.5 kilometers with AFT equipped to it. The reload is honestly pretty good as well. With Main Battery Modification 3, you can get your reload down below 4 seconds, which is pretty impressive for a destroyer that has this size. And, you know, after Adrenaline Rush has kicked in a little bit, so... yeah, when you're getting shot up by a Khabarovsk non-stop, it is not a very fun thing to have happen to you. It's also blazingly fast. It's the fastest ship currently in the game, able to reach speeds of over 48 knots when you have the speed boost and the Sierra Mike flags, and you're going in a straight line. So this thing is incredibly difficult to hit at range, and the kind of sweet spot for this ship is between 11 kilometers and its max range at 13.5. This is the kind of range where if you're maneuvering around, if you're playing with the rudder, you're playing with the speed, as you can see here, this Khabarovsk completely thinks that I'm going faster and shoots all of his shells out in front of me. And just being that annoying guy that's staying at range. And I know that the ship has been in the game long enough for you guys to, you know, this is like, oh, come on, Sneaky, I know this. But, you know, being able to do it is something that's a little bit harder these days, because the ship kind of forces you to use the double rudder shift. If you don't use it, its rudder is just ridiculous. So you have to give up a whole crap load of concealment, and it requires you to count on your teammates and potentially your division mates a lot more to be able to get on caps and deal with enemy ships. Now you can see here, this is why the Khabarovsk is so much fun to play. The Kurfürst has a fire burning, the enemy Montana has 2 fires burning, and I've completely pushed both of those guys away from the A cap. The Minotaur was able to move in and secure it, so a little bit of good teamwork right there, gut bucket. Very nice job sneaking into that little corner and being able to take care of business. And you can see the damage is already spiking up to almost 50,000 as both of those battleships continue to burn. And that's why the Khabarovsk is just so much darn fun in terms of its gun performance. Excellent range, excellent shell velocity, the fire chance is great, the damage is pretty good. If you hit battleships in the superstructure, you just deal a lot. And you can see here, once again, the Kurfürst takes a pot shot at me, but because I'm moving so fast, he only has 1 shell that hits. Granted, it is a penetration, but that's a-okay, because I'm going to be able to use my heal and get back about 3,000 hit points, which is really sweet. So, right now it's 369 to 300. We've capped A. We did cap C, however, you can see that the enemy team is making a heavy push through that part of the map, so I'm going to be moving over there to try to deal with that here in the next couple of minutes. The Khabarovsk once again shoots at me, however, it looks like the shells are going to fall behind, and I'm already up to 836,000 potential damage taken in this game, just because I've had quite a few battleships pop their entire salvo at me, and it comes to nothing. And you can see here, once again, the reload is just fantastic when Adrenaline Rush is kicking in, and you can also see 2,000 to 3,000 damaging salvos on the superstructure. If you manage to hit superstructures that are non-saturated, you can do a surprising amount of damage in this thing. And quite frankly, this is a ship that is probably the best 1v1 gunboat, at least amongst the destroyers in the game. A Yu Yang and a Gearing can give you a run for your money at point blank range, but you just have so many guns, 8 of these bad boys. It'll be interesting to see, actually, now thinking about it, the Tier 10 Super Akazuki that's coming out. I think it's the Kitakami or something, or the Haragumo or whatever. It has 10 of those Akazuki guns. I'm interested to see in a 1v1 who would come out victorious between that, but that ship still isn't coming out in the game for probably another couple of months. Anyway, more shots going down range at the Khabarovsk, and I gotta be honest with you, if I was Dark G right now, I would be furious. This Khabarovsk of mine is being completely unrelenting, just shooting shell after shell after shell down range at him. And again, even when he angles away, look at the damage up into the superstructure, and it requires a very good aim, but right there, every salvo going down range is doing about 2K a pop. 29 penetrations, only 14 shell breaks. Again, this is where the Khabarovsk is in its natural environment. And, you know, it's even better if you're able to take use of the concealment and cover provided by islands as well. You can see that I am shooting at that guy nonstop, and I've put an island right in between myself and him, so I'm not detected right now, and I am just peltering away at this guy. And, you know, it might be a little boring at times, but this ship is just, you know, when everything's going well and you're playing really good, this is one of the most rewarding ships in the game, because, you know, you can have this kind of impact as a destroyer, as a gunboat destroyer that has terrible stealth, and it's pretty sweet. My buddy 901 manages to burn down the Kerr first, so he's taken care of. I'm up to over 100,000 damage now already, and we're not even 7 minutes into the game if you've lost track, just because this thing feels like a mini Hindenburg at times. It just deals so much damage so quickly, and it's, you know, that's the defining feature of it. Sorry if I feel like I've been rambling a little bit, pardon me for that, but yeah, I was playing this. I played 9 games in this ship last Thursday, I believe, and man, it was just insane. I think I was averaging over the course of the 9 games like 165,000 damage and like 2.5 kills a game. It was so retarded, and yeah, it was a good night, that's for sure. Getting some more shots here anyway, down at the Alsace. He is backing up. It appears that he ate a torpedo as well. And with him about ready to kick the bucket at 245 health, I'm now going to switch back over to the Friedrich der Grosse. So you can see I'm taking a few shells from their enemy rune that's off to my right. But you know what? I still got 20,000 hit points to work with. So unless I get chunked by a battleship AP salvo, you know, that's just chump change. That's minimal damage. I really don't have to worry about that. Some torpedoes going down at the Friedrich der Grosse. It looks like he's going to hit by 3 of them. There we go. So now he's down to 22,000 hit points, and he absolutely has to use his damage control. And you can see here once again, this is a situation where, well, this guy's already dead. He's just not going to be able to get out of there. The torpedoes forcing him to use his damage control, and you can see here all of the shells that are just flying right into the front part of the superstructure. Oh man, you know, it's so much darn fun. And again, as I light fire number 2 on the superstructure, he is going to die here. It's just a question of who is going to be able to get the kill. I pick up the Wither just a little bit over 8 minutes into the game, which quite honestly is pretty insane. And I burn down that Tier 9 German battleship to pick up my first kill of the game and push my damage to almost 130,000. And also at this point, we've lost 5 ships, but the enemy team has only lost 4. However, we still have the lead at 414 to 255, and the C cap and the D cap are firmly in our control. So for the time being, we are going to be able to get some nice points here, and we're going to be able to also get a nice little cushion over the enemy team, so that if we do lose a couple ships, we're still going to be in the lead for this game. Now moving back into the B cap, and you can see here, this is the one big issue, because you just have the terrible stealth now. You saw that I was spotted there trying to make my way into B, and my 9.7 detection extends all the way through the B cap. So this enemy DD, it looks like the Asashio last reported. It could be the Gearing as well. I just have to get so darn close to them before I'm able to spot them that, you know, in a situation like this, I decide to play it safe, and I'm not going to go diving into the B-cap because I just don't feel like that it's worth it, you know? There's the Rune, there's the potential salvo coming from the Montana, there's a Tirpitz back there, there's also an enemy Baltimore that was shooting, there's a Minotaur last spotted that was moving back towards B. There's just too many things in there, and it's going to take the Asashio doing something just like that, getting way too close to me, and I'm immediately going to open fire on this guy. Get about 2,000 damage on the very first salvo, and he is going to get spotted here really quickly. There we go. He's at 5,400 health, and at 6 kilometers, yeah, there's just too many ships shooting at him. My buddy 901 manages to obliterate him for the final remaining hit points that he has, and he takes care of that Japanese premium DD. So he's gotten a couple kills himself, and we're having a nice little carry game here. And now you can see the Montana starting to turn broadside, and at 11 kilometers away, this is when you can switch to the armor-piercing shot and do some really awesome damage. I do have him burning right on the front of the superstructure, and after a couple of AP salvos, I'm actually going to switch back to the high explosive because I really do want to get some more fires burning on this guy. But you saw right there, 2,400 points of damage on that first broadside of AP, over 2,000 on the second broadside of AP, and if you get to under 10 kilometers, even though it's generally not advisable to be that close to enemy ships, but if you do manage to get that close, your AP can do 3, 4, 5, even 6,000 points of damage, just because it has such good penetration. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but it's pretty terrifying, and you're able to Citadel British-like cruisers very easily at those kinds of ranges. However, I'm taking some pretty big damage from that Minotaur that's behind me. I strayed a little bit too close, and you saw right there that I ate quite a bit of damage from just that one salvo, almost 5,000. And I've seen Khabarovsk deleted in 3 salvos by Minotaurs because you got that little 50mm armored plate that I forgot to mention. It's right up in front next to the B turret, and what it does is that it just catches AP rounds and lets them penetrate right into the deep bowels of your ship, and that's when a Khabarovsk really takes a lot of damage, and why having the heal is you know, much more important. And you can see here as I angle right there, about 3,500 damage from the Henry, because I provided him enough of an angle for his AP rounds to penetrate right into the front part of my ship, which is very unfortunate. Now, at this point, I've popped the speed boost, and I'm getting some nice shots at the guy, but unfortunately, the Henry has enough bow and deck armor to where I really do have to hit, and right there, again, 3,200 damage hitting me as I'm angled. Still getting shot up by the Minotaur. I've all of a sudden been chucked down to 3,600 hit points. But yeah, anyway, I gotta hit the Henry in the superstructure area because I'm just not gonna be able to penetrate this guy. If I had IFHE, I'm pretty sure that you can. I don't remember off the top of my head, but taking IFHE is kind of a waste because this thing has such a rate of fire and such a good fire chance that that's where you're gonna be able to deal a lot of the damage in this ship. So I don't really feel that it's necessary, and you can see here I am getting some nice penetrations, but all of those are on the superstructure of the ship. You can see right there 4 shells hit right at the bow and I deal 0 damage, so I really need to get some lucky RNG here with the fire. But of course, not too long ago, cruisers now have a much shorter cooldown on their repair, or not the repair, excuse me, the amount of time that the fire burns for is much shorter. It's only up to 30 seconds, so trying to burn this guy down is going to take me a very long time, and even though I'm kiting away and in a most excellent position for it, I really need to start getting some good RNG here, or I'm just not going to be able to deal with this guy. And you can see right there, 314 damage. That is just not enough when you got a full broadside hitting this guy. He's still at about 21,000 hit points, and he is chasing me down. The Henry is one of the few ships in the game, at least the few cruisers in the game, that are able to somewhat keep up with the Khabarovsk, and it has decent enough gun performance to be able to hit you. I am a little bit too close for comfort at about 10 kilometers, very unfortunately, so I've had to do a lot of maneuvering around, and some of my shots have been a little erratic. The gearing appears at 639 hit points. My buddy 901 pointed that out to me really quickly, trying to get the kill shot here. It's now 479 to 560, and very unfortunately for me, I am not going to land any rounds on the gearing, and that is going to prove catastrophic for me for the rest of this game. We're now in a 2 versus 5 situation as I launch my torpedoes downrange at the Henry as well. I get yet another fire number 16 of the game, but you can see there he is using one of his heals. He's at 9.6 kilometers, and then the Henry makes the best play possible right here. He realizes that there's no point to continue to try and chase me down because I'm in a much better position. So what he's going to do is turn away from this fight. And the reason why this is the best play that he could possibly make is because I'm going to have a hard time trying to catch up to him, especially if he's using his speed boost. And he is the guy that, short of the gearing, is the closest thing that I have to a kill to try and get the points back in our favor. So he is doing the absolute best play right now, and it wouldn't have been surprising to me if maybe one of the team members in the enemy team chat was telling them, hey man, don't go chasing that guy down. I'm getting my next heal ready to go here, so I'm going to be able to get back to about 7,000 hit points. And there's no reason to. And you can see I don't have my speed boost. I'm still going about 40 knots here as I'm trying to move a little bit left and right, but I'm just not able to catch up to this guy, simply because he has the speed to be able to disengage from these kinds of ranges pretty effectively. And you can see I am still able to reach out and touch him with my guns, but those shells are only hitting at the very back part of the ship, and I'm just not able to penetrate the deck armor. I do get another fire set on him, but he is using one of his heals yet again, and I just cannot chase this guy down. There's nothing that I'm going to be able to do to him unless I get some ridiculous fire RNG. I did get yet another one, fire number 19 of this game, but, you know, he still has 14k hit points. He's going to be A-okay, and he's not going to be able, or, excuse me, I'm not going to be able to get this kill here. So, at this point, I decide to turn away, because there's no reason for me to try to chase him down. It looks like he's going over towards the sea cap. I don't have the speed to get over there, and I still have to wait another minute for my my speed boost to come back. So I'm going to try to go deal with the enemy ships that are coming over. Now, there's a Tirpitz and there's an enemy Montana, and unfortunately, I don't know how many hit points that they have left at the moment, and I only have 8,300 to deal with. And, you know, this is going to get into a pretty tricky situation here, but we're going to see if I'm going to be able to come out on top. I have since went undetected, but unfortunately, somebody has me RPF'd as well. You can see the top part of the screen, it does say I am located. So that gearing is definitely lurking around here, and I got to be very careful. Obviously, he's only at about 6,000 hit points, so he does not want to show himself. But now we're in a 1 versus 5 situation. So will Sneaky Snake be able to get a solo warrior out of this game? We're going to find out here really quickly. The enemy Montana is going to be my first target. Now you can see the Tirpitz is about 13 kilometers away, so I am going to have to get within his secondary range, potentially at least, before I can start opening up on the Montana. So what I'm going to do is start shooting at the Monty, and I'm going to get into a kiting position. My speed boost is activated, ready to go, so I am going to pop it right here, and we're going to see what kind of hacks I'm going to be able to use with the WASID keys. Getting some more shells going down range at the Montana. I am maneuvering quite a bit and dropping my speed. The Montana is shooting high explosive, so at this point I decide to gun the engines full ahead. I do pick up the high caliber. He does hit me with one shell right in the rear, knocking out my steering, but that's A-okay. And now I pick up the arsonist on the Montana, killing him. And now I'm going to switch my focus here to the Tirpitz. So now the 1 versus 5 has been turned into the 1 versus 4. And I'm actually in a really good spot here. It does not appear that the Tirpitz has a secondary battery arrangement set up on his ship. So I don't have to worry about that right now. I do get a fire set on him, and he's at about 21,000 hit points, but you can see here German battleships do not stand up very well to these Soviet 130mm guns. If you hit right in the superstructure, you saw it earlier with the Kurfürst, you saw it earlier with the Montana, the Friedrich the Grosse, the Bismarck, the Gneisenau. This is just their one big weakness, and you can see right there. About 1,000 damage right there. 20 out of the 42 shells that have hit have been penetrations, so I got to aim just a little bit higher. He did use his damage control, and once I get another fire or two set on this guy, I'm going to be able to get this kill right here. And you can see even in chat, the friends and the enemies are both egging me on to try and clutch this game here, which is pretty cool. Definitely nice to meet fans out there when I'm playing the game. I do get a double fire lit on that guy, and I am going to be able to get the kill here. So I'm going to turn the 1 versus 5 into a 1 versus 3 as the next salvo goes down range. And there we go. I pick up the kill on that tier 8 German battleship. I'm now at 244,000 damage with 3 kills. The amount of damage has been ridiculous, and it's a shame, now that I see it, that I didn't get that gearing kill earlier, don't you think? Because if I would have been able to get that kill, it would only be a 1 versus 2, and I know that the Henry only has about 14,000 hit points, so if I'm still able to stay at range, I could have a chance there, but unfortunately one of the enemy ships left is a Minotaur. And unfortunately, that guy has better stealth than me, which is something that is terrifying to many a Kaba captain. You just have to, whenever there's a Minotaur in the game, you just have to be so careful. And, you know, you can see the enemy team is capturing the D objective. I'm guessing it's the Henry over there. The enemy team has since captured all 3 of the other bases. It's 724 to 843, and this game is going to get out of hand here really quickly. But also, there's only a minute and 26 seconds left. So I can't win by capping. I cannot win by points. I have to get all 3 of these frags here quickly. But I'm out of heals. I only have 5,000 hit points, and it just doesn't feel like this is going to happen. You can also see I'm hitting towards the last reported position of the Minotaur. I'm sure that he's going to be lurking around, and either him or the gearing has the RPF. So one of them is going to be calling out, hey, the Khabarovsk is probably right here. You can see I am detected, and takes almost 5 seconds before I finally close the distance enough to get close enough to the Minotaur to be able to spot him. I have to go full bow on, which does allow me to bounce a few of his shells. But you can also see that the enemy Henri IV is opening up on me from the east as well. So I'm just in a situation where, well, guys, it's not going to happen. I tried to tantalize you a little bit with a potential Solar Warrior, but this game, it's just not going to happen. I don't have the hit points. I don't have the time. I do pick up the Confederate here at the last second, and as I do switch to the armor-piercing shot to get some good shells at the Minotaur, I kick the bucket, and that ends the game here on North. Alrighty, guys, taking a look now at the post-battle results. 255,000 points of damage in the Khabarovsk here on North. 3 kills, 25 fires set, and 348 penetrating hits. Those 130mm guns are certainly some of the best DD guns in the game. And I picked up a quartet of medals as well. Witherer, High Caliber, Confederate, and Arsonist on that enemy Montana. And like I said earlier, some games you just cannot carry. Taking a look at the team score, my buddy 9 and I both acquired 3 kills, so our little APOC div counted for 6 of the 12 enemy ships destroyed. And also on this loss, I had over 2,000 base XP, which is just ridiculous for any defeat. Whenever you get that kind of base XP on a loss, you had your carry pants on with the belt pulled tight. But it was a loss, so unfortunately wasn't able to carry this game. And like I said earlier, this is the last little bit that I'll hit on. The Khabarovsk used to be a much better DD at being able to carry, but ever since some of the nerfs, the lower rudder shift, the much worse stealth, you just don't have the kind of flexibility at the mid to late stage of the game, especially if you don't have the hit points to be able to deal with other enemy ships. I mean, there was a time back in the day where the Khabarovsk had all of this nice stuff that you saw in this game, but it could also get down to about 7 kilometers worth of stealth. So I would have been able to spot the Minotaur earlier. I would have been able to spot him before he spotted me, and potentially I could have done something about it. But alas, I wasn't able to. And with that being said, I still hope that you guys enjoyed this replay. So, with that all out of the way, this is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Please consider giving the video a like, commenting on it, sharing it with your friends, or subscribing to the channel. Whatever you do, it is much appreciated, and have a great day.